Good morning, it's Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. Welcome back to Cup of Cyber, your daily dose of cybersecurity news brewed fresh and strong. Today we will break down the latest threats, hacks, and headlines so you can stay ahead of the game. Today, we've got three big stories to go through. A critical emergency update from Google for Chrome users amid growing cyber espionage threats. Fin7 is back at it again, this time dropping an Anubis Backdoor in sophisticated supply chain style attacks. And some good news for once, Gmail is rolling out full end-to-end encryption for enterprise users. So let's pour that first cup and dive in. First up, if you or your organization uses Google Chrome, and let's be honest, that's pretty much all of us, you'll want to hit that update button ASAP. Google has released an emergency security patch to address a high-severity, zero-day vulnerability that's actively being exploited in the wild. What's at stake here? The flaw, tracked as CVE202428887, affects Chrome's visuals component and can let attackers execute arbitrary code, basically giving them the keys to the castle if you're running an outdated version. What makes this more concerning is that it's reportedly being used in state-sponsored cyber espionage campaigns. That means the attackers aren't just in it for ransomware or quick cash. They're looking to steal sensitive data, track targets, or gain long-term access to government and enterprise networks. So what should you do? It's simple. Update Chrome immediately. Head to the settings menu, go to About Google Chrome, and make sure you're running the latest version. And don't forget your other Chromium-based browsers. Edge and Brave could be vulnerable too. And while you're at it, enable automatic updates across your endpoints if possible. You don't want to rely on your users remembering to do it manually. Now that we've patched up Chrome, let's turn to a new threat bubbling up from a familiar adversary. The infamous cybercriminal gang Fin7 is back in the headlines, this time using a custom backdoor called Anubis to infiltrate corporate networks. According to researchers, the campaign is targeting IT service providers to gain access to multiple downstream clients, a classic supply chain style attack. Here's how it works. The attackers send phishing emails to lure victims into downloading a tampered MSI installer, which secretly plants the Anubis backdoor on the machine. Once inside, Fin7 gains stealthy remote access and can move laterally, steal data, or prep for ransomware deployment. Now if you're thinking, didn't we hear about Fin7 like years ago? You're right. These folks have been around since at least 2015 and are known for blending cybercrime with advanced tactics more common in state-sponsored groups. To protect your org, tighten up your software supply chain. That means verifying the source of every install package, disabling unnecessary MSI execution permissions where possible, and segmenting access for IT support vendors. And as always, if you haven't rolled out endpoint detection and response, EDR, tools with behavioral analytics, now's a great time. These kinds of tools are critical for spotting unusual patterns like this before they spread. Let's close out with a little good news from the Googleverse. Finally, some privacy-positive news. Google Workspace users can now send end-to-end encrypted emails in Gmail. This is a long-awaited feature that gives enterprise customers full encryption from sender to receiver, without Google or anyone in between being able to peek in. This is especially huge for industries like healthcare, legal, and finance, where protecting sensitive communication is non-negotiable. The feature uses S/MIME encryption, and admins can now enforce it through policy, ensuring it's automatically applied where it matters most. A few caveats though. Both the sender and recipient need to be on Gmail with S/MIME enabled, and you'll want to make sure your certificate infrastructure is solid. But for internal enterprise comms, this is a massive win for data privacy. If you're managing a workspace environment, head into your admin console and start configuring these settings now, and make sure your users understand when and how encryption applies, because great tools only work when people know how to use them. And that's it for today's Cup of Cyber. We covered a critical Chrome update, Fin7's latest backdoor attack, and Google's end-to-end encryption rollout for Gmail enterprise users. If you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest cyber threats and tools. All the links to today's stories are in the show notes.